All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Angry Hacks podcast. It is Wednesday, and we're back at it for our second podcast of the week, where we will preview Week 11 of the NFL. We will give you our Fanduel value picks, as well as some can't miss starts of the week, as well as our juicy weekly picks. With me today are Stan the Man and Michael Hall. Michael, how are we doing, brother?
We are doing well.
Okay, it's good to hear. Stan, how's it hanging?
It's. I was gonna say shriveled and to the left, but it's hanging okay.
I was waiting for
news.
something like that.
It's a good start.
Good start. It's a good start. Well, let's get this over with, Rye. We got to at least mention the Giants. They after another brutal loss against a team that has not won a game, they go back home and face one of the better teams in the NFL, if we can call them one of the better teams in the NFL, because we don't know really who's the cream of the crop yet. So we're going to put them up there, and this was my Super Bowl pick of the year. They play the Kansas City Chiefs at home, where they expect to get booed loudly in their home stadium. It might be brutal, but I think it's warranted. Right. I know you want to talk about McAdoo. What do you want to say about this idiot? Because I don't even want to say his name, or I'll just get even more mad.
You know, and I know that every week we're on here, we're calling him a name or something, and I feel bad about it in a way, because he is a human being. But you say idiot, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. Him being an idiot, because I listened to his presser today, and I had to hear him say, "For what we have coming up, I'm happy with the opportunity." Which what lies ahead for us this season, the rest of this season, the opportunity we have the rest of the season. So one of the reporters goes like, "Hey, what opportunity are you talking about?" And he goes, "Just the opportunity to turn things around." And I'm like, "What? That's your approach? That's your approach now? Week 11? That's your approach? The opportunity that you have to now turn things around?" Now, I thought he was going to say, as bad as this season is, I'm just happy to have the opportunity to be in the NFL. You know, I know I've been struggling. Put the onus on himself for once. No, he doesn't do it again. He doesn't do it again. And he starts talking about the opportunity of what lies ahead the rest of the season, and how he can turn this season around and get some positive things going. Which I know that's what you want to do. I get it. But just the way he says it and the way he appears in these pressers, he's just not good at that aspect of the job. I mean, I don't know what he is good at, what aspect he is good at, because I haven't seen one this year. But it's just a frustrating thing. And I'll be in Vegas for this game. I'm going to be in Vegas this weekend watching all the games on TV, which is probably a blessing that I don't have to just watch the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but this is one of those games that 100% I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. However, it would not shock me if this was the one game that we played well in for some weird damn reason.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think they have a chance, but if it happened, I would just kind of shake my head. That was kind of the way I felt when they beat Denver, because at that point Denver was a contending team, and after that game they pretty much went downhill. But yes, this wouldn't shock me if they won this game, but I don't see it happening. I really don't.
No, I don't see it happening either. But my point, I was gonna get to it. Like, if they do win this game, it might piss me off more, because it just shows that if the team actually tries hard and doesn't quit, that you can win any of these games. And that will really frustrate me. Yes, I'll be happy with the win, but of course, everything you look at, you dissect things under a microscope, because that's what we do as fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
it will really piss me off and upset me.
Oh,
Either
absolutely.
way. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. If they somehow play well and win this game, it would frustrate me too. My focus on this game when I watch it will be on the defense the whole time because I want to see if these guys are going to take plays off again, quit on this team like they did last week, like they've been doing the last couple weeks. Because if they do it again, know what to think. Then I might be on board with you of cutting them all or cutting the guys that are quitting. I really would. Because if
I
you
know.
do it like this would be like pretty much the third game in a row on it.
Yeah,
So
and I
if they come out and play hard and they come out and get a few sacks, if they come out and get a couple turnovers, I'll be okay. If they give up 20 something points, but it looks like they were trying out there, I'm okay.
I agree. I agree. But let's quit on them right now in this podcast and move on to greener things.
And speaking of greener things, Michael, could
Green
be
effect.
the Green Bay Packers.
Well, I don't think you're going to be seeing much green because I think they're doing the throwback
Oh,
blue and
are they
yellow.
the Acme?
The Acme Packers. I
Ah,
don't hold me to it, but I think
I'm holding.
we'll be seeing them, and you'll be seeing a lot of orange in the stadium because I think deer hunting season's open in Wisconsin now, so that's always fun too.
Well, what's the weather supposed to be like there?
I haven't looked yet.
Uh-huh.
It's an interesting question. I'll pull it up as I talk. Before I get to the Packers, you guys mentioned McAdoo and how he never seems to shoulder any of this, which I think it's important for a coach to do sometimes, even when it's not his fault. And McAdoo, a lot of this shit's been his fault. But even a coach who coaches perfectly and his team goes out there and sucks, a good coach will say, you know what, I gotta do a better job to take some heat off the other guys. And you look at a coach like Sean McVay with the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
who's our age, I think. I mean,
Yeah, he is.
one of the youngest guys to ever be a head football coach. After their win on Sunday, where they blew the Texans out, what, 33 to 7?
Mm-hmm.
They were only winning 9-7 at the half. And he comes into his post-game press, and the first thing he says is, you know what, the first half offensively was terrible, and it starts with me. And I had to do a better job of getting my players in better positions to succeed. That's how we started this whole press conference.
Interesting.
And that says a lot to me. And I actually hope maybe McAdoo saw that. He goes, oh, wait, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so moving on. The Ravens coming to town. Again, one of the weirdest teams in the NFL, like they always are. They've had blowout wins. They've had blowout losses. Joe Flacco is the strangest quarterback to ever walk the earth. They got the fastest wide receivers on the planet, but they can't hit a big play. You know, they're so strange. I don't know what to make of this game. The weather looks dry, but looks cold. Might probably be below freezing.
Hmm.
So listen, the Ravens, you can, as good as their defense has been, you can run on them a little bit this year, which I think obviously bodes well for us because that's turning into maybe not our strength, but our need. We need to be able to run the ball. But, you know, we lost Aaron Jones last week for a multiple week injury. Ty, I'd be surprised if he played. It sounds like another rib injury. Who knows if it's related to the first one? I'm sure it is. So it's Jamal Williams, and you may see the third rookie, who we haven't really seen much this year, Devontae Mays, who is another big bruising kind of back. I'm sure he'll get some touches. So they're going to have to run the ball well, again, to keep pressure off Hundley. But we're seeing growth with the kid. We talked about it last time. Played great in the fourth quarter, crunch time. He popped up on the injury report with the hamstring. that we found out he was nursing in the second half of last week's game. He did practice in full today, so that's encouraging. I'm sure they'll manage the injury well, but a hamstring, guys, that fucking thing can pop up at any time during the game.
Yeah, those are the worst injuries.
So Joe Callahan, who's our backup now, has to be ready to go because you never freaking know. So the Ravens come in, like I said, a lot of speed on the perimeter. You have Wallace, a couple other guys that can really move, and a pretty good running game with this kid Collins. You still have Javorius Allen, Buck Allen, Uncle Buck Allen, who's dangerous in the passing game out of the backfield. But the Packers' run defense has been really, really good. So I think a big key for me, it's simple, but it's just you stop the run, and I think it's important to force Flacco into some mistakes, which he's prone to do. I think he's got 10 or 11 picks this year. So, I think it's going to be an old school kind of game plan, cold, run the ball, stop the run, big play here and there when you need it. Obviously, keep the lid on them with their receivers. No big plays in the air would be really nice to see. Our secondary just, is still banged up. Can't get everyone back on the field. Burnett, I missed last week. I'd be surprised if he played. He's still got the groin in practice today. Kevin King, who I love that kid. He played well again last week, but he's got a shoulder. I think he practiced today, limited, so we'll keep an eye on him. Big news in Packer world. We re-signed Brett Good, our old friend, our old long snapper, which is just actually we joke, but it's actually kind of a big deal because our snaps and holds have been a big fucking problem this year, and it's been really annoying. We had that kid Tabor Pepper come in and try to snap. He got hurt. We brought in another guy last week, and the snap wasn't the problem last week. It was the hold. That punter, that kid Vogel's got to learn how to hold the fucking football. The weather's only going to get colder and wetter, so he's got to knock that shit off. But Brett Good is back, so I feel complete again. I don't need Rodgers back. I just needed our long snapper back. I feel so much better. But no, I think that's about it. Obviously, like I said, stopping the run because the Ravens want to establish that. But a team comes in to play the Packers, they know they could. There's usually chunk plays in the air, and we just have to nip that shit in the bud. But Flacco, he will make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the pass rush has been coming on. Daniels looks really healthy finally. Perry looks good. Matthews, they were all big factors last week, but we're going to need them again because, you guys know it's very simple. If you don't get to the quarterback, a good experienced quarterback is going to find ways to move the ball through the air and beat you. And you get to him, you get in his face, you can make anyone look bad. So, very simple. Another big game because I think, to be honest, I see a little bit from Hundley. I was watching more plays of the replay from last week. Did some film study with Jaworski, and he just kind of, with his footwork and the way his feet move as he throws, he almost has that Rodgers look to him where sometimes his feet aren't on the ground. So the way he kind of, it's like a quick set with his feet, and he rifles the ball sometimes. And you saw it get better and better as the game went on. He looked hesitant early, and as the game went on, he looked more and more comfortable. And I don't want to go anoint this kid or anything, but I think he's good enough to make it interesting for us. Now the problem is, I think with the NFC, I don't think 9 wins is going to get you in the way it's looking right now.
Right.
So I guess 10 wins is the goal. If Rodgers is 4 to 6 weeks away, which might be the case, then this is a really, really big game. I mean, as it stands right now, 5-4. I mean, we get to 6-4, and that means we have to go 4-2 the last 6 games. I think that's very, very doable. So, home game, I'm not going to call it a must win, of course, but it's a really, really big game. But I think if we can run the ball, rush the passer, stop the run, 3 things we've been doing pretty well, then I like our chances here.
Yeah. So if we look at the slate this week, guys, I think, I don't know, I ran through it a couple of times, and I think there are better matchups this week than we've had in a while. There's a couple of games that I'm like very interested in watching. So I want to kind of get your take on what you think of this week's schedule. There's still some duds, obviously, because we know how weird this season's been, and we know how some teams have underperformed this year. So there are definitely duds. Here are some of the games that I'm interested in, and I think it's better than it's been. So I'll run through them really quick, and we can kind of talk about them a little bit if you want to. So we have Rams, Vikings, Saints, Redskins, Patriots, Raiders, Eagles, Cowboys, Falcons, Seahawks. I like all of those games if I were kind of a fan and being an outsider to all of those teams, just watching in terms of, matchups. Any of those stick out for you guys?
Yeah, it's funny though. You mentioned New Orleans Redskins, and it feels like this is like the 3rd time they're facing each other this year. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know it does. I feel like they always play each other.
It just feels like that. But yeah, no, these games are good. Did you mention Dallas Eagles too?
I did.
That's the big one for me. Like, I want to see.
That's a Sunday night game too.
Right, it's perfect. I want to see how these Eagles, they're, what are they, 8-1? But this is a game I think Dallas is home for. This is a division game. It's going to be tough. I know they don't have Ezekiel Elliott because he finally isn't appealing the suspension. He's taking the 6 games.
Yeah.
So he dropped the appeal or whatever. So he's suspended. So he's not playing this week.
Well, let me tell you about that, and I want to get your take on this. I think I think him and his crew are dumbasses. They should have understood that they were never going to win this, and that eventually he was going to get suspended. So he should have taken those 6 games right in the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Because these times right now, sitting at 5-4, are crucial games for them. And without him, which is a star player, top 3 running backs in the league, would you guys agree? He's a top 3 running back in the league?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's going to miss these next couple of games down the stretch, which I think are the most crucial.
Yeah. No, it's big, but I think either him and his bevy of lawyers, his camp, if you will, I think one of 2 things went on. One, he either is innocent or has convinced himself to believe he's innocent. And I mean, say he really didn't do any of this. I mean, of course you want to fight the suspension. And 2, say, he did whatever they said they did, or he did whatever they said he did, rather. But he and all of us know the way the NFL handles these things is horrible.
Oh, absolutely.
They're horrible. So why not go fight him? And it worked for a while. So I think either A, he didn't do anything, believes he didn't do anything, and 2, he really believed that he'd get this thing at least reduced, if not thrown out. So obviously huge backfire, and everyone talked about this when he first started to fight this. Well, now listen, Dallas and Elliott, they have to be careful with this timing because it could really screw them. Now, if the Cowboys can actually make the playoffs without him, he wouldn't miss any playoffs. He'd be back for what, week 16?
Yeah.
No, he already missed one game, right?
Yeah. So he's
Yes.
5 more.
Right, 5 more. So he'd return week 16. So I guess they got lucky in that regard, but hurting their playoff chances with him out. I mean, that's an understatement. So
Yeah.
it totally backfired for sure.
It did. It did. But I understand what you're saying, Mike, and his thinking, like you said, if he did not do it, he wants to fight it. I mean, put yourself in his shoes. If you're him, knowing, and I'm using quote, knowing that you didn't do something, you would fight it probably.
Right.
The only problem is, I mean, I guess you got to kind of look at what the NFL usually does, and I feel like they always win.
Yeah,
they always win somehow. They eventually will get you, and you might get a reduction of games, but they always get you. They always get you somehow. So I guess you can look at it 2 ways, yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see if they can win a few games without him there, because these are the crucial games you got to win. If you in these next 5 games, if you go 2-3, that puts you at what?
7-7.
7-7, okay. But if you go 1-4 in these games,
that's 6-8. You're done,
and then you're done.
7-7, you're probably done too.
Yeah.
It'd be tough.
It's really going to be tough. Like you said, you're probably going to have to win 10 games in the NFC this year. So, I don't know. Rye, what do you think about this, man?
Well, I'm actually glad this is biting them in the ass. This is what I wanted to happen.
Of course.
Of course.
With that being said, I do expect them to come to play this week against the Eagles, and I actually kind of think they might win the game. But in the end, this is going to hurt them. This is going to hurt them anyway, whether it's this week. If it hurts them this week, it hurts them. But if it doesn't, I still expect it to hurt them the next few weeks. I don't see them going 4-1 over the next 5. I think 3-2 is the best case scenario, but I think 2-3 is a very likely scenario here.
Yeah, it is.
So, and even 3-2 might not be good enough. I don't, like Mike said like a couple days ago, I don't see them making the playoffs.
I don't either. And I mean, at this point, you're 3 games behind. You're not winning the division. If you can snag this game, it's big. It really is. And you're 2 games behind. But I don't know how they sustain it without him. I mean, he's a big factor to them. I mean, Alfred Morris, this guy Rod Smith, it just doesn't do it.
Well, it really depends on their O-line too. Like if their O-line is there and healthy and playing well, then okay. But they haven't been there and they haven't been playing well. And they missed. They had their backup in there this week. He let up 6 sacks.
Yeah, and Tyron Smith's questionable again. They have a couple of guys banged up. Des Bryant, it's seemingly he's always banged up. But it's gonna be interesting. Now let's go to the other side and just talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, because this one obviously is killing us, because it's a team we hate as well, and they're sitting with the best record in the NFL. Are they this good? Are they an 8? I mean, are they who they thought they were? I mean, are they 8? Are they an 8-1 team? Yes. Are they that good?
I don't know. I know. For a few weeks early in the year, I remember like when they got off to this hot start, they're 4-1 or 5-1 or 4-0, 5-0, whatever they were, and I said, eventually the bad coaching is going to hurt them, and it hasn't. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe he's not a bad coach, Peterson. But I thought he was a bad coach. But you're 8-1 somehow, and I guess you can't be that bad. So I thought eventually the bad coaching would come out. It hasn't yet. They're 8-1. They've earned this 8-1. They are a good football team. Carson Wentz is the real deal. I said it earlier this year. He reminds me of Rodgers a little bit. Watching him, he has a little bit of Rodgers in him, and he's exciting. He's fun to watch. And if you think about it, he doesn't have that dynamic receiver. He just has a bunch of solid guys. I guess Ertz is his go-to guy in the red zone at tight end, but he doesn't have that DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. He's just, he spreads the ball around. It doesn't matter who he's throwing to. He does a really good job out there.
I think the bringing in Jay Ajayi too is giving them a little bit of an edge, almost a little bit of a more rounded out balance on offense. Because I mean, you think about a team like that, that doesn't have a great running game, which they didn't. And yeah, they stopped the run really well, but you can beat them through the air, the Eagles. I mean, they pick you off a ton, but that to me sounds like an old Packers defense. Give up a ton of yards, but rely on some takeaways that don't always come. So it's a dangerous recipe sometimes. But bringing in Ajayi, a guy who can, if he's going right, can run the ball well, control clock for you. That's more of a late in the year and playoff kind of recipe that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. So I think that trade was huge because they just look like a much more rounded offense now.
I thought that was a weird trade by the Dolphins, by the way.
Yeah, they had to have hated him or something.
It had to because he's a young guy still.
Right, for a 4th round pick.
Oh, really weird. After last year, he broke onto the scene. 2 200-yard performances in a row. I mean, he looked real good last year, and he's young. He's a beast. He reminds me a little of Marshawn Lynch in his early days.
Yeah.
He's tough to tackle. He runs great between the tackles. I don't know. That felt like a really weird trade. Like you said, maybe they hated him.
I think that's the only thing. There was something going on in the locker room or –
Well, I heard two things.
Go ahead.
I heard 2 things, and you're right. One of them is locker room type stuff, and – apparently, he didn't get along with everybody or didn't show effort all the time, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one being something with his knee, not thinking that he'd be a healthy enough back in the league for many more years.
I heard that too. I guess they thought get a 4th rounder for him now before it got any worse, I guess.
Yeah, and he's been on the injury report with that knee all season.
Yeah, so who knows?
It's been every week with that. But that's an interesting. But Mike, yeah, you're so right though. Getting him, I think it was very, very huge for them because I felt like their running game didn't really have an identity.
Right.
It was a lot of all right. You got Blunt, but he's more of like a goal line guy. You had Smallwood, didn't really know where he fit in after Sproles got hurt. And then he got hurt, and then this guy Clement. So they really didn't have much of an identity. They bring in a guy like Ajayi who bust onto the scene last year, and now, holy cow, they got a couple of backs there that they can mix and match and do some things with. They're dangerous.
I agree.
And they're big.
They are dangerous.
They're big backs that hit you hard.
Yeah,
they're hard runners, Ajayi and Blunt. So yeah, it's a good 1-2 punch there.
Absolutely. Let's look at this Rams and Vikings game. Because if you told me the beginning of the season that week 11, when the Rams play the Vikings, was that going to be a must-watch game for you?
7-2 teams.
Was that going to be a must-watch for you, Rye?
No, I was going to say jump off a bridge if you told me that. Jump off a bridge because that's bullshit. 14
division leading 7-2 team.
I called the Rams, boys.
Yeah, but remember, you were kind of wrong. You said they might win the division at 8-8 or
9-7. Yeah,
they're gonna blow past that.
I know they really are.
Well, McVay, you talked about McVay earlier, front runner for Coach of the Year. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say
Doug
so.
Peterson.
Well, yeah, but I think Doug Peterson's a bad coach.
Yeah, they're 8-1.
I know.
No, this kid McVay kid. Well, I say kid because he's such a young coach.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he gets it, man. He really does. I like the way he handles himself. And yeah, I mean, a Rams team. Remember their offense was so bad last year.
Last
And
couple of years.
Right, and I understand Goff's rookie year last year, a lot of rookie growing pains. But remember Gurley saying it's like playing on a JV high school offense, just
Yeah.
vanilla. And I think that was all Jeff Fisher's bullshit. And you bring in a guy like McVay, who was OC in Washington, led, Cousins had some of his best years, pretty dynamic offense. You see it instantly. I mean, Gurley is an absolute animal again. Goff is throwing bombs all over the place. They got a good well balanced offense that can beat you a lot of different ways. A defense that's pretty damn good, especially up front. And they're a good looking team.
Yeah. How about a value free agent signing in Andrew Whitworth?
Oh God.
Jesus. Rye, that's the guy I wanted the Giants to sign.
Yeah, mistake.
Yep.
Good job, good job by the Rams there, and they're young still too. I mean, they're a young football team with some vets out there, but this offense is very young. And Goff. I just have to say something about Goff. Last year, drafted 1 overall.
Say something.
He was ripped on every platform from everywhere, saying this guy shouldn't have been number 1 overall. This guy's terrible. He's no good. I mean. And if you ask me, I'm like, oh, this guy. I watched him at the end of the last year. This guy sucked. This guy, I know they still a little bit. It depends on what teams they're playing. I mean, I guess this is what coaching is, right? But it depends on what teams they're playing. They don't let them, just throw the ball downfield against everybody. But the last few weeks they're playing some teams that are rough in the secondary, and he's been throwing the ball all over the field to Kupp, to Watkins, to Robert Woods.
Back home at the Coliseum.
And you know what? Jonathan Goff is now I was going to say Jonathan Goff, Jared Goff, whatever.
Jared.
Jingleheimer
Goff.
This guy has become my fantasy quarterback because I needed a quarterback, and you know what? He's better than my other ones. So this is great. I hope this guy continues his success. Let's go.
Well, he probably will. I mean, but make no mistake about it. I mean, this offense still runs through number 30. And Todd Gurley.
Oh, yeah.
But that helps a kid like Goff, and I think that's a big reason. I remember, last year it's the old, chicken or the egg. I mean, Gurley couldn't run the ball. Was that because there were, 9 guys in the box every play because no one thought Goff could beat him? Or
Case Keenum. Wasn't it Case Keenum?
It was Case Keenum at times,
right.
too. Yeah. So, yeah, good little segue to the Vikings there with Case
Keenum.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this Case Keenum's playing like he did in college all of a sudden.
Yeah, listen, I think we just talked about the Rams. I think they're a legitimate, really good team, 7-2 team. They look the part. Are you buying the Vikings right now at 7-2?
No, but
what? But
no, because Case
Keenum.
Because I don't like Keenum. Okay.
Right. Check.
I don't necessarily like Bradford if he was there.
Right.
They have Bridgewater now. Who knows what you're going to get from him? So they're one of the most important positions on the field. I think is a big question mark. However, they're 7-2. They're getting a lot out of their receivers and Thielen and Diggs. They've been phenomenal. McKinnon. I mean, they lose Green. Who'd they lose?
Cook.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
They lose Dalvin Cook, and then they get Jerick McKinnon and Lat Murray, and everyone's Lat Murray's going to be the guy. And McKinnon had played phenomenal a few games. And then he had a night off, and then Murray played well. And it's like they're just getting it from everywhere.
It's that right. It's the front 4 of the defense that's getting it done too, and that's been their strength the last couple of years. And oh my God, guys, it's eerily familiar because that's how the Rams are successful on defense too.
That's how a lot of teams can be successful. You get to the quarterback with your front 4, you can do a lot of different things.
Their defenses are quite similar. Okay. So I think this is a really good matchup and it's going to be very interesting. But Rye, you're so right. I think if you're in terms of quarterbacks, the Rams right now have the edge. They have the edge. Goff is starting to play like a number 1 overall pick. I think he is the real deal. I think obviously in the running back situation is better in Los Angeles because Gurley is running like he did 2 years ago in his rookie year. And they short up that offensive line. It's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be a good game. I'm going to be glued to that game at some point in the day when my Giants are getting their ass kicked. So I don't know if you're going to ask me who wins that game. First of all, I'm going to tell you it's probably close. And second of all, it's a toss up. It's a toss up, but maybe I give it to the Vikings because they're home. I don't know. Where would you guys go on that? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I'm going to be talking about this game a little bit later. I will say this. 2 good defenses, probably out in the cold. One team with suspect quarterback play, or, not lately, but should be. The other side, still a young quarterback. So it screams the under. It screams a defensive grinder. So it's going to be a shootout, right? Because that's how the NFL works.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if anything, you'd have to bet the under, I think. But, yeah, this game, especially, especially I need the Vikings to lose. I mean, it would be nice. The Packers don't really have any ideas of competing for the division, but, I always want to see the Vikings lose. So
I mean, you're only 2 games out.
Right. Listen, there's a lot of time left, and number 12 is I feel like he's lurking in the shadows, just waiting to pounce. We're like,
if they stay afloat, absolutely.
We're saving him like Mariano Rivera, for the end. But yeah, this game I'll be rooting for the Rams, but I'll be interested for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Another team that, I mean, you didn't see coming this good, that Saints team, man, at 7-2 as well. And we discussed it a little bit last podcast, how this team has been dominating on the ground, not with Hall of Fame, soon to be Hall of Famer Drew Brees, by their ground game. And I think I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. I know it's because of the emergence of rookie running back Alvin Kamara, giving that running back tandem just that 1-2 punch. Because Ingram's already been there and he's been very successful. But now you bring in a guy like this who can do multiple things, catch out of the backfield. He's very shifty. He's good, man.
Yeah.
So this team's good.
Yeah, I keep waiting for them to
finally say it.
Yeah, right. I keep waiting for them to fall on their face
because that's what they've done.
And how about this? I mean, Brett Hundley in his first NFL start was in the game with this team. That seems like a lot more impressive now,
Yeah, it does. Because their defense has been good. The Saints.
I know that's the most shocking thing to me, because it's like the Saints, they always try to fix the defense, and I feel like this last offseason they're like, fuck it, we're just going to suck on defense. Like, they didn't even try. Like, they just kind of accepted the fact that they're going to blow on that side of the ball. Like, they've been trying to fix it for like 10 years, right? And it never works.
Well,
I feel like this time they're like, whatever, and they've been like lights out. It's so funny how it works.
Because they got rid of Rob Ryan. I mean, that guy just.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
He's awful.
Rob Ryan.
So the Redskins come to town into New Orleans, where New Orleans always had that stigma of just being so much better at home. The last few years, it hasn't been that way. But now with this team being good, you just expect them to be good every game now. I don't know. So I don't know. The Redskins still are eerily, they can play well in games and look like a better than 4-5 team.
Yeah.
But will they? Who knows? I hope they're not.
Yeah, I think the Redskins keep that close. I don't know if they win the game, but that's something you like about Cousins. He's got a lot of fight in him. He's a high energy guy, and he never quits. So I can see shootout. I don't know, but I think that game will be close.
It probably will. He's annoying.
You like that?
No, it's just
You like
annoying.
that? You like that?
No, I like it when I punch him in the face. Yeah.
You like that?
You like that? Kirky.
He's like yelling at an old lady the one time. He said,
Turkey.
But-
Spartans, baby. Michigan State.
"Yeah."
Another reason he's a dipshit.
What do you have against Michigan State?
I don't know. It
They're like
started
the
with,
most. They're like Switzerland of college football. They're the most neutral like team.
you know me. I hate 95% of college football teams or college basketball teams.
Yeah, somebody who despised the college games a little
Love
too
it.
much.
Love it.
So I mean, Patriots Raiders. I mean, for me, that game, I'm waiting for the Raiders to be a little bit what they were last year, but they've really, that's one of the teams that's really underperformed, I believe.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that game's in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
So I'll watch to see a couple things. Of course, I want to see if the Patriots defense, give up a ton of yards. Because listen, I mean, the Oakland offense can still be very, very potent. And two, I got to see if there's going to be a laser pointer shined onto the field, and maybe, like, what was the game? Wasn't it? It was Broncos Raiders last year, right? And Osweiler was playing. That laser was someone had a laser pointer right into his eye. Maybe someone gets Brady in the face and he throws like a pick six at the worst time. And maybe it'll help the Raiders.
They've been a really weird team this year. They've had a good 1-2 wide receiving punch with Cooper and Crabtree, and especially Cooper. He's really, really underperformed this year. And with Carr getting hurt, that didn't help because EJ Manuel is just not a good quarterback.
No.
And their defense is always not that great. I mean, they have Khalil Mack, who's a stud, but they're always they're like a middle of the road to terrible defense every year.
Yeah.
Never good, never in the top 10. It's been a while. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah.
But lately, do they have a shot?
Yeah, it's why you play the game.
Well, yeah, they have a shot because their offenses can be that good.
Yes.
Yeah, Carr. I think Carr could hang with Brady for most of the game. Sure.
Yeah. And in a year as wacky as it's been, and in a year where the Patriots look a little bit more pedestrian, there they are in the driver's seat, it seems, in the AFC.
Always there.
Always
there.
Yeah, they don't even look pedestrian anymore. They look good now. Like, their defense is playing better now. I mean...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Belichick fixes it, man. He just fixes it.
Yeah.
As much as he is so douchey, I mean, he is the best.
Well, he probably had, he's probably spying on practices again or whatever,
Any way to cheat the system.
If Brady likes the footballs a little underinflated, he's probably overinflating balls for the other team secretly.
He's got his minions or something doing something.
Yeah, he's up to something. He's up to something. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Should be something. And then, I mean, the last game that I mentioned, guys, was that the Monday night game, Falcons Seahawks. The only reason is even before this season started, that looked like a really premier marquee matchup and on prime time. And the Falcons got a huge win after just looking like absolute dog shit at the beginning of the year. And the Seahawks have been really not great. And then they lose another star defender for the year in Richard Sherman. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Falcons can go into the fake noise arena and go and beat the Seahawks, which I think they could. Why not? But it's two teams, Michael. I know you're on board with this. Two of the teams that you just absolutely hate.
Yeah, and the Seahawks for sure. I'll hate the Seahawks till the day I die. The Falcons, I mean, I guess they don't bother me too much, but I don't know. I mean, obviously I'll be rooting for them, but I don't know. I don't know how good the Falcons are.
We don't know.
I don't think we can't overreact from last week.
No.
Like, they beat a Dallas team that, with Sean Lee banged up and the left tackle missing and this and that. I mean, it's still a Falcon team that, almost lost to the Jets. Should have lost to the Bears. Just as played like shit, like you said. And the Seahawks at home, I mean, Christ, with all the fake noise, it's hard to beat them. And I feel like, especially at Russell Wilson plays well in prime time. I feel like the offense just gets a boost.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the East Coast team flying out west for a night game, which is always a weird thing. Because it's about time for bed for them. So, yeah, it'd be tough for the Falcons. I mean, nothing would shock me because the Seahawks still can't block anybody, and we saw Claiborne, have an early Thanksgiving feast against the Cowboys. So he may do that again because the Seahawks offensive line is pretty fucking terrible with no running game. So they got a shot, but they're gonna have to play really well.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks will win that game. That's got to be one of the biggest home field advantage places, maybe in sports.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's got to be up there. But yeah, I think the Seahawks will win that game, and the reason being is Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he could do it by himself.
He can do it by himself, without a doubt. I mean, even with no run game, he's their run game too.
Yeah.
It really is. All right, boys. Why don't we move on to some FanDuel values? Let's give the folks at home some easy money right here. You ready?
Oh, baby. Get out your checkbooks.
Get out your checkbooks.
Load up the account.
Here we go. Open up your FanDuel app. Get ready. Get a lineup going because here we go. Ryan Stanley, give us a QB if you have one.
All right, see, that's the one position that I was struggling to find someone. So I'm going to go with my own Eli Manning at 65.
Still cheap as hell.
Still cheap as hell. Reason why I'm going with Eli, I expect them to be down in this game, so they should be throwing the ball most of the time. The Chiefs' defense has not been very good, so you can throw on them. If the Chiefs score early, I think that's going to take out the run game for the Giants, even though we, sometimes run in the fourth quarter down by 20.
Yes, we do.
I expect Eli to throw the ball a ton in the game. Having Shepard back makes it, possible that he can convert on some of these plays to Ingram or Shepard. So I like Eli at 6,500. That's my quarterback.
It's a cheap one.
Love that.
Michael.
Eli's my big value guy too. I think Stan, you nailed it. I mean, KC, they are a bit porous. I mean, their DBs they're ball hawks, but they take a lot of risks. So there's definitely some big plays to be had through the air. And like you said, you got to love the potential game flow here. I think it's just going to be Eli may throw 50 times.
Right.
And 6,500 is pretty attractive. A more expensive guy, definitely can't call him a value, but I think finally, we talked about them before, having a great run game these days, but I think Drew Brees, I think this is the week where you see a Drew Brees 3 or 4 touchdowns through the air kind of game, 300 yards. Washington just got torched by Case fucking Keenum, for Christ's sake. So why not Drew Brees in the dome? He's 8,100, which isn't horrible. I think this is the week for Drew to kind of turn back the clock and show you the Saints offense that we haven't really seen this year. I think you see it this week.
Yeah.
I like it.
Drew Brees, huh? And you know what? A price like that for him, usually, that's low. That is low. That is more value.
It seems like a discount for him.
It is. I'm going to stay slightly under that price And because this was definitely tough to find value at the quarterback position this week, I'm going to give you Alex Smith against the Giants.
Take any Chief, right?
Under 8,000. So he's at 7,900. Not much of a stat guy. He really is not. But these days, anybody is against the New York Giants defense because they're not playing.
CJ Beathard was.
Right, exactly. They're not playing football right now. So unless they're going to show me something different, I'm going to keep picking against them. Okay? And Rye, I know this was the thing that you used to never do, but I know you're kind of off that right now, picking guys against the Giants because it's just a laughing stock. But
I'm off it this year. So I like your call, and I have a pick about that later. So
okay. So that's one of them. And then the other pick that I'm going to say is just because of the revenge factor. Ryan, I know you like the revenge factor. And it's a guy we just mentioned who had a monster game, and that's Case Keenum. He's at 73, and I know he's playing a tough defense, but you know what? Revenge factor. That's the only reason I would pick him.
Love the revenge factor.
Revenge factor. So pick him in cash, in tourney games, pick him in some tourney games where you can possibly get some value out of him. And if
no one will own Case Keenum, that's
no. So it will be a nice 1 or 2% owned guy.
Yeah.
Maybe even under. Who the hell knows? But I like Alex Smith and Case Keenum if I were to pick.
Ooh, okay.
So let's move to running backs. Mike, you got a running back for me?
Running backs, yeah, I have a few actually. I mean, I'll start with my expensive guys, and we'll stick with that Giants defense theme. Kareem Hunt, 8,600. I mean, if the Giants don't show up, how do you see Kareem Hunt not having an absolute field day? I mean, is Snacks out? I mean, he probably is.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that just adds to it. I like Jordan Howard this week. He struggled last week, but I think the Packers are really tuned in the run D. I would like him again this week against the Lions. He had two good games, both games against Detroit last year. As a rookie, he played well. He averaged like 14 or 15 points. He's 7,400. And you know the Bears. They're going to give him the ball a ton. Value guys, I mean, I have a ton of guys. I mean, this is a position I think you could just absolutely punt this week and roster two of these cheap guys. I mean, Chris Thompson for Washington, I like. I mean, he's one of the higher ones at 6,800, but with Rob Kelly out, the way he catches the ball, and they're going to be throwing, I like him. I like Marshawn Lynch at 5,900. I like Buck Allen. I hate to say it against the Pack, but he gets targeted a ton. He's at 5,800. I like any single Patriots running back, to be honest with you. You can take two if you want.
Yeah, it's so tough sometimes.
I know, but honestly, pick one. I think they're all valuable. Lewis at 5,700, Burkhead 5,700, James White's at 5,100.
The only one you can't take is Gillislee because I think he's this week, but you just don't take him. But you can take any of the three.
Those three guys, I mean, any single one, even as like I said, two of them if you want. I mean, it may work out. And I like. Let's see if Eckler can do that one more time with the Chargers. 5,200. I mean, if this kid goes off again, I mean, the last time you'll see him in the fives. So I think at running back, there's a lot of good options for dirt cheap.
Yeah, and you didn't even mention. I'll piggyback off you. You didn't even mention your boy from your team, Jamal Williams, at 5,600.
Sure.
And then ball in the same game, you mentioned Buck Allen at 58, but Alex Collins, who gets the most carries on the team, is 5,500.
Yeah,
so
he's like 5-6 yards a carry still this year.
And then, even though I don't necessarily like this one as much this week, but Orleans Darkwa has been running the ball very well, and he's still under 6,000. He's still under that price point.
Yeah, you can take a chance.
And you can take a chance on him.
If the Giants somehow stay in the game, you'll get some carries.
Right.
I like those. Good values, guys. Mike, you mentioned Chris Thompson, and just for the purpose of the guy that's going to get probably the most carries, and he struggled, I know, but one of these times he's gonna break out if he's getting the carries, and it's Samaje Perine. He's only 5,400. He's very cheap, and he's a guy that's going to be starting. So he gets in the end zone, 55 yards and a touchdown. I think that's great value right there. Another guy I like, and it's only for the fact that he's an every other game type of guy. Okay. So last week, or he was actually on a bye last week. The game before, he was terrible. Game before that, good. Game before that, terrible. Game before that, monster. So I'm going on that factor because I mean we gotta stretch, and that's Adrian Peterson. He does play the Texans, who their run defense is not bad. It's pretty solid actually.
Yeah, but they're banged up.
I think they're good. Yeah, they're banged up, and I think they're gonna have to feed him the ball close to 30 times, maybe even more, because I think Blaine Gabbert's gonna start that game. So you really don't know what you're going to get out of him, obviously. So they might have to feed him the ball out. If he gets a lot of touches, hey, you never know. So I like Adrian Peterson. And if I were to pick some can't miss guys, I really feel, guys, with me, you got to roll with the duo, Ingram and Kamara. I mean, Kamara is still under 8,000.
Yeah.
The guy has not been in single-digit fantasy points since week 2.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. He's only getting better. And Ingram, monster game last week with 3 touchdowns and over 130 yards. I mean, those guys, why not ride them? You could start them both. I'm telling you, you can start them both. Why not? Since I'm just firing on all cylinders right now, I'm all pumped up. I'm gonna keep it going. Wide receivers, okay? Wide receivers. This one, guys. Another one. If you're gonna stack my QB, Alex Smith, against my boys this week, you got to pick Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Why not? He's under 8,000 against a porous. I'm saying porous, non-trying defense right now. and a guy that dynamic like Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's going to break one for long because, I mean, last week it was Goodwin and Selleck that broke one for long. 2 weeks ago it was Robert Woods and it was Sammy Watkins. So who's it this week? It's going to be Kareem Hunt and it's going to be Tyreek Hill. 2 big plays, or as Mike likes to say, splash plays.
Oh, splash in the pool.
Love a good splash. Here's my next wide receiver. You guys, I don't know. Maybe you scratch your head. Maybe you don't.
Okay.
Dontrell Inman of the Bears.
I almost wrote him down.
You almost did.
I like that.
He's under 5,000, guys. So if you want to go heavy in other places, pick a value at 4,900. Now, granted, our value last week with Humphreys was terrible. It was a fail, epic fail right there. So I may be stretching again, but he seems like he's the number one guy there. Trubisky seemed to love him last game.
8 targets.
Yeah. So he had a lot of targets. I think he had 6 catches for about 80-something yards.
And remember, he dropped that slant on the last drive. That was actually a big drop and would actually obviously helped his stats too. Right. So I like him. And you ready for this last one, guys? I've got a guy at the minimum, 45. Ooh, the barrel, bottom of the barrel. Who is it? Bottom of the barrel. Now, this has an asterisk next to it because we don't know if he's coming off IR. But I think long-term, he might get you a couple of splash plays. Ooh. Who is it? Tell me. It's my Sooner boy, D.D. Westbrook, who is on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh. Okay. Allen Hurns is hurt, and if they activate him this week, I could see a splash play because he likes to stretch the field. Yeah. And he's at 4,500. So if I see he's playing, I'm throwing him in a tourney lineup. Yeah. Why not?
D.D. Gregorius?
Not Gregorius. He's almost Gregorius, but he's Westbrook. So those are my wide receivers, boys. Who wants to take it next? Go ahead, Stan the man. You go.
All right. So I have a couple wide receivers I want to mention. I got one on the value side, and this is a semi asterisk next to it. But even if Demarius Thomas plays, I think Emmanuel Sanders at 6,300 is a big play this week. He got a lot of targets last week. He goes downfield.
God,
He runs.
Lundqvist.
What happened?
Sorry.
Tell me, tell us.
A bad goal. They were up 1-0, 52 seconds left in the second. Just a bad goal. Hit him right in the chest and then went through his legs.
Come on, Dick. All right, back
Go
to
ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, no, you're good. I like the update. I love the updates, live updates. Love it. Emmanuel Sanders, 6,300. I just like him for the price point this week, and he's going to lead the team in targets. He's going to get you. He's going to get you 10 to 12 targets this week.
I like that pick.
And then I have a guy that's on the high end of the wide receivers, and he's listed at 7,700. But normally this guy's at like 9,000, and it's DeAndre Hopkins.
And
Nuke.
I know that he's matched up with Patrick Peterson this week in Arizona, and I know Tom Savage is the quarterback, but I think that Tom Savage, in his mind, he's like the only way I can succeed is if I force feed Hopkins the ball. The last 2 weeks, he's had 30 targets combined.
Crazy.
Over the last 2 weeks, and he's put up crazy amounts of numbers, crazy amounts of, lots of yards, lots of catches, lots of targets, and then Will Fuller's not playing this week.
Yeah.
So they go up, maybe he gets even more targets. But I'm just going to quickly, those are my two wide receivers. I'm going to go to tight end quick before Hall does his receivers because it goes with the same thing with Hopkins.
Go.
DJ Fedorowicz.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. Iowa Hawkeye right there.
Well, yeah, right. And he came back last week, and he had 6 targets, and he only had like 2 catches or something. Nothing. He didn't do well. But he got the ball thrown to him a little bit. And with Fuller out, I expect Fedorowicz to get a lot of targets again. You can throw on Arizona. And then if Peterson's on Hopkins and is playing well, who else is Savage going to throw to? He's going to throw to Fedorowicz, and he's 4,600.
Cheapy.
Like it.
So I'll just stay with the tight end, and then, Mike, you can go. But I'm going to go tight end, too. If you are using value picks this week, this is one of the positions that I think you can buy up on. Kelsey against the Giants at 7,500. The tight ends kill us. I know you mentioned Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and Alex Smith. We have to mention Kelsey. You have to mention this guy. 7,500. If this game is anywhere close, he's going to be the guy that has the most fantasy points in the game.
I like it.
And so I love Kelsey. And I said, that's one of the things you'll buy up. The last thing you'll buy up for, I'll give you a quick defense, and then you guys take over. I'll sit out for the rest of this. You go to the top of that list, and you just go Jacksonville Jaguars at 5,600.
Easy, lock it in.
So if you're using these value plays at the running back, like Mike and Ryan said, if you go like Fedorowicz somewhere, if you do those any of those guys that Ryan said at receiver, that Nunzi said at receiver, you could go Jacksonville at the defense at 5,600. You'll have enough money for it.
Right.
Lock it in. Cool. All right. Well, receivers, we talked about Will Fuller being out. I think another guy that might help, Bruce Ellington, for Houston. I mean,
Brucey, baby.
It's a guy Bill O'Brien likes, and he's even said that we got to find ways to get Ellington the ball more. 4,600. Arizona, they don't cover slot receivers well. I've learned in my research. Ellington plays a lot in the slot, obviously with Fuller out. He's going to be firmly entrenched there, so I think it's a pretty good matchup for him. I like Jamison Crowder at 5,400. Really shitty start to the year for him, but he's come on, and he's been a target hog. He's had 24 targets the last 2 weeks. Was kind of quiet last week, but he had Xavier Rhodes on him. That's a tough task. But going against New Orleans, I know the defense has been better, but I like Crowder at 5,400 in what could be a shootout. And then a little more expensive. I have Tyreek Hill written down too, because why the hell not? And I went all the way to the top of the list here. I saw Michael Thomas. I like a breeze Michael Thomas stack this week. He is 8,600, but I think he gives you the return you need on that. What does he average? 12 points a week. I think he flirts with the high teens for you this week, which would give you a decent return on 8,600.
Beautiful.
Let's see. For my receivers, tight end. I got two guys. I like Jared Cook with Oakland against the Patriots this week. It's only 5,600. New England. Obviously, they give up a lot to most offensive positions, but tight end's one of the worst. And I like a bounce back from our boy Cameron Brate.
Wow.
He's had two absolute duds in a row, a catch each in the last two games. But I love the matchup against Miami. Their linebackers suck. Kiko Alonso, I think, is the worst starting linebacker in the league. They're not going to be able to cover Cameron Brate. And he will score a touchdown. He is my touchdown guarantee of the week. Cam Brate. I now call him Cam for short.
Wow.
Brate at 5,500. Love him.
You love him. It's funny that you said those two guys because in regular fantasy, I just dropped Brate for Cook.
No, well, I think you still win there.
And that's the tight end I put down too, Jared Cook. You said it, man. He may be a steal at 5,600. He's had in the last 3 games 21 targets for a tight end. And I mean, guys, when you think about it, my philosophy on tight ends. I usually try to punt when possible. After Gronk, Ertz, Kelsey, and Ingram, it's a big drop off. Ingram at 74 is the lowest out of those 4. If you want to count Reed, because we don't know if he's playing, and Cook are 56. So I always like to try to go low on a tight end and spend the money in the wide receiver running back realm, just because I think you get more. Tight ends are so spotty. Even guys like Gronk can go out there and catch 2 balls for 38 yards. So I liked Cook. That was the only guy I wrote down. We don't like kickers. Mike's told you guys his philosophy. I've followed that as well.
It's easy.
So I'm going to give you just one defense that I like, and I think they're still really low, and it's the Saints. It's the Saints at home. Possibilities for a touchdown, the Saints defense, and they've been playing very well. They're top 15 in the league now, which is very good for them, and they're top 10 in pass. So I think against Washington, who definitely can score, if they get a turnover for 6, I like it. So I'm going Saints. Mike, you got a defense?
Yeah, I got a couple actually that may work out. I know they've struggled. They've had a lot of huge injuries, but they're playing against possibly I already forget his name, Blaine Gabbert. The Texans at 4,600 might be a good play.
True that.
Arizona's gonna have a hard time moving the ball. Peterson will get his yards and maybe even a touchdown, but I mean, Blaine Gabbert, how do they not pick him off 2 or 3 times? I like the Chargers against Buffalo. Again, just because of the quarterback. We're playing a quarterback that's never played a game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much the defense. It's definitely the matchup. Chargers are 4,300. I mean, you could really hit a home run there. Another one, same thing. I mean, it's more about the matchup. It's my Green Bay Packers against the Ravens. Again, we're banged up on defense in the secondary, but it's the Ravens. I mean, can't you just see an absolute egg thrown up by Joe Flacco?
Love it.
I can. So I think any one of those they're all going to be pretty low owned. I can see the Texans having a higher ownership than the Chargers and the Packers, but those two are going to be ghost owned. Just came up with the term, ghost owned.
I like the ghost owned.
Ghost owned.
Excellent. Dude, I love those defenses that you said. I didn't really put too much thought into my defensive looks here, but those are really good. Those are really good. And I think if you're listening out there, you can find some good value in those defenses.
I love the Packer pick. For me this week. It's the Jaguars or the Packers. I'm going either way.
I like it. So that brings us to our favorite time, the finale.
All right,
We got our
let me start
weekly
it off.
pick. What's that?
Let me start it off because I had my palate cleansing dartboard fiasco. It was like my lemon sorbet. It was my palate cleansing of the filth that I've given the listeners all season.
All right, kick us off, man.
And this week, it's going the opposite way. And I'm going 3 dogs. 3 dogs. Tennessee +7 at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I just think it's a day they play well. I know Pittsburgh's home. I just think the game is close. I think Pittsburgh wins, but I think Tennessee covers. That's all I'm giving you. Green Bay +2 at home. Who is Joe Flacco to be favored by 2 on the road?
Who is he?
Who are the Ravens to be favored by 2 on the road in Green Bay? No, that's ridiculous.
Who are they?
That's why I'm taking Green Bay +2. And I'm taking the Cowboys +3.5 in a division game against the Eagles at home. Getting 3.5 at home. They might lose the game, but I think it's a field goal game. These division games are usually that way. So I'm going Dallas +3.5. I can't believe I just picked the Cowboys. But hey.
Well, it's over the Eagles.
It's over the Eagles, so it's justified. But
yeah, it's a wash.
Green Bay +2, Dallas +3.5, Tennessee +7. Lock it up.
Lock it up.
Wow. You scared me.
Who wants to follow that one?
I'll go.
All right, brave.
Rye, I like that Green Bay pick, so I'm going to keep it going with Green Bay. That was the first one I looked at, and I said, I think that's a lock. I just think Baltimore's offense sucks. Flacco, whatever you want to call them. Green Bay's home. Maybe they get the weather. And I think the defense, like we just alluded to, plays very, very well. Green Bay +2. Let me think of something here. Well, I'm gonna stay what I went with last week, and that is the Go Chargers.
Go Chargers, go.
At -4.5 at home. Buffalo, geez.
Yeah.
They seem like they're on their way on that downward spiral where they usually every year get to. And now we hear that the coach is starting some guy named Jay Peterman from Seinfeld. So, yeah, I mean 4.5. I like it. Chargers, they seem to be in every game. So and they cover well. I like the Chargers at -4.5. And my last pick, I'm going with them. New England -6.5. I just feel like when you pick New England, you have a really good chance of covering. I don't care what the number is. And I just think a touchdown, I think they should have no problem. I know they're on the road, but I don't know. Oakland doesn't do it for me this year. So
let me
what?
I was going to say, let me give you a little Jay Peterman statistic.
Oh, go.
I love the Charger pick because I think it is a lock. Lock. I don't know why I didn't pick it myself. You're a better man than me. Now,
we'll see.
Jay Peterman in his trench coat this week. In his limited action last week, 7 for 10, 79 yards and a touchdown. So maybe there's something there. Maybe.
Yeah, against the Saints' second team, but I hear you. But Jay Peterman, he's going to be wearing the urban sombrero. He's not going to do much. The Chargers are going to take him down. But Green Bay +2, Chargers -4.5, New England -6.5. Go, Mike.
Oh, go. Okay, go. First one. Give me the Chicago Bears +3.
Ooh.
At home. Still think the Lions kind of suck. The Bears showed me a little bit last week. This kid Trubisky's not that bad. And Chicago was missing a lot of guys last week. They had no Trevathan. who's the captain of the defense. They're missing another linebacker, I think. They're banged up on the offensive line. I think all these guys are coming back. I think they're just a pretty good team. And Detroit just, I don't know. They don't do it for me. The Bears have been in every single game except for when Mike Glennon threw 18,000 interceptions. So give me the Bears at +3. I forgot my big stats here. Listen to these. Lions, they're coming off a big win. They are 5-15. 5-15 against the number after a double-digit win since 2011. How's that for a stat? And 3-9 against the spread before their Thanksgiving game in the last 12 years.
I love that this is the shit that we as gamblers and other people in this planet as gamblers look at, and they actually put their money on statistics.
The trends, baby. The trends are big. So give me the Bears +3. I like the Broncos -2.5. Because the Bengals suck balls. That's why. The spread just looks wrong to me. I thought the Broncos would be favored by maybe 5 or 6. That's how bad I think. That's how bad I think the Bengals are. Listen. The Broncos were 3-3, and then they went to Kansas City. They had to go to Philly, and then they played New England off New England's bye. So yeah, they're 3-6, but are they a little bit better than that? I think so. And again, Cincinnati, good God, it's in Denver. Give me the Broncos -2.5. And I like the Rams. We talked about this game. I like the Rams +2.5 here. Just because I don't know if I have any good reasons for you. I like the coach. I don't like the Vikings. I just think the Rams are a better team. So fuck it. Give me the Rams +2.5. Broncos -2.5 because they're going to sack Dalton 13,000 times, and the Bears +3.
Lock it in, boys. Lock them in.
Hey, boys. So let me just tell you something. That's 8 games that we just picked from because Ryan and I picked Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to Vegas this weekend. I am putting $20 on a parlay on all of those 8 teams.
I love it.
Love it. What would the payout be there?
I will let you know. We'll let you know on the pod. The payout, it would be very high.
Yeah.
It would be, I think it would crack 1,000.
Crack it, baby.
What
Crack
casino
it.
are you going to get the ticket from?
I plan watching my football at Caesars, I think, on Sunday.
Oh, it's the best sports room.
So Caesars or maybe the Mirage. Maybe the Mirage. We'll see.
Oh, the Mirage. I don't think I got to the Mirage the time I was in Vegas.
Player card's doing well for me. If it's a total rewards card, I'm going Caesars. If it's the M Life, I'm going Mirage.
Nice decision made right there.
Cool. Well, let's hope for a big payout, my man. That'd be real nice. Just quick hockey update, boys. It's Rangers are 1-1 after 2 periods with the Blackhawks. I've been kind of watching it on the side here. Rangers seem to dominate the first period, and then the Blackhawks seem to dominate the second period. So it's when those two teams usually hook up, it's always a low scoring, tight affair.
Hey, I got a little hockey news while we're at it. I just got a funny alert on my phone. Apparently, the Arizona Coyotes, are being accused of not properly paying employees and spying on them.
Wow.
I'm gonna dig into that story and maybe have a little something funny for the next podcast. That sounds like a hilarious story.
Yeah, dig into that because that's just a bad organization.
Spying on employees.
Spying on them. They're doing bad things, dude.
Jesus.
They're doing bad things. But Rangers playing well. Blackhawks are a good team. They just can't seem to find the back of the net. They're one of the worst scoring teams in the league right now, it's very strange for them.
Very weird.
But again, the line of Zibanejad, Buchnevich, and Kreider score again.
Outstanding.
Yep. And Lundqvist is playing well. He just the goal he let up was really bad. Really bad. By a guy I've never even heard of before.
DeBrincat.
Rin
I
Cat.
know
There you
about
go.
that guy because every time I take him in Fanduel, he doesn't do a goddamn thing, and the next night he'll have like a goal and an assist, 3
Oh,
shots on
really?
goal. Yeah, every single time. It's happened like
No.
3 times.
But let's hope the Rangers can steal one here. Even if they steal a point, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
And but it would be nice to get 7 in a row, 7 wins in a row, get to 10.
just get it to overtime. A point would be really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Point. I'll take a point. Ryan, I know you want to quickly mention the Celtics.
Well, you just mentioned if the Rangers can get to 7 in a row, which would be phenomenal.
That's nothing.
But the Celtics are now at 13 in a row.
Wow.
And just getting it from everywhere, getting it from all cylinders, everybody contributing. Kyrie played with a face mask last game because he missed a game, or basically missed 2 games, but he wore a face mask and put up 25. It was a game we were down, but we played the Nets, so we were able to come back. But our true test is tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors.
Oh yeah.
So let's see how that goes. I mean, I'm very excited for tomorrow night. I can't wait to watch that game. Just keep it interesting. Keep it close. Keep it interesting. Obviously, if we lose, I'm not going to be upset. If we've won 13 in a row, you can't win them all. But if this game's close, it just gives me such high hopes for the season.
Hey, imagine if the Celtics had Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh my God!
Hey, Knicks won tonight. How about that, baby?
Hey,
They did, right?
Hey, they were down by 10 at halftime, and then they outscored Utah by 15 in the second half. So good job.
Yeah, and Utah's missing Rudy Gobert, their defensive player of the year, but still, I mean, you gotta win. You gotta win these games when a team is down a guy or when you're playing a team that's not there. And if the Knicks can win those games, they're going to be a playoff team if they can keep winning those games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I took Cantor in Fanduel, and he sucked. Awesome.
Yeah, 13-4. Not what you were expecting there.
Terrible. Every time, I'm telling you, every time I take one of those middle of the road guys, it's just terrible. It was a big play today, Rye, at center.
Who?
Dwayne Dedman, like over 50 points.
Oh, I know. I liked Dedman last year when he was in like the 3,000 range, and every once in a while he'd give you like 30. I was like, ooh. But
Damn it.
Goal
Chicago.
I made it into the period.
Yep.
Knicks.
Unbelievable.
Dick lickers.
You mentioned the Knicks. I just have to bring up one other thing about the Knicks and Frankie Ntilikina, or Frankie Smokes, Frankie Nicotine, Frankie the Tank.
Frankie Nicotine.
The Prince of MSG.
What? Well, he's going to be that if he keeps, standing up to freaking LeBron and shit. What do you think of that? Did you see that?
I did.
It was great. Him and Cantor.
I love it. And then you get them on the subway. You see the video of the Cavs on the subway and the guy next to him like saying, "No, I don't want to be on your stupid video."
Yeah. I don't know what football team he plays for. I had to piss LeBron off so much.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But how do they blow that game? They should have won the damn game. Would have made it all
know.
more sweet. But we're still the Knicks. I mean, we can't get too excited here.
Hey, let me tell you, the Cavs don't have Isaiah. Even when he comes back, what is their weakness this year? The defense.
Okay, you got to tell me.
Their defense. The Cavs' defense has been lacking. It is not there. It is a system-wide thing. No one playing D on that team. And they have one of the best defenders in basketball in LeBron. But when Isaiah comes back, he's going to take away minutes from guys that are better defenders than him.
Yeah.
And I don't know what this is a real problem for this team. So I know I think they're at over 500 now. Don't be surprised if the Celtics or the Wizards or somebody can represent the East other than the Cavs this year.
Well, that would be refreshing. Anybody.
But that's all I got for you.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, this weekend, I think we're going to see some good football this weekend, guys. Like I said, there's a couple of games, a couple of good matchups here that have been much better than in past weeks. So I think we're going to see some better football. I hope we see some better football. Let's hope our picks work out, especially for you, Rye, going to Vegas. Good luck over there.
Thank you.
And I hope our FanDuel picks work. Maybe some people listen to the pod can pick them. And also just, get on our social media. Okay. We are on YouTube. We are on SoundCloud. We are on iTunes, and we are also on Twitter at The Angry Hacks. Catch us on there. Tweet us. Anything you got to do. Just get the word out. The Angry Hacks are here. We're on episode 32 today. We are rolling, and we will be back next week for some more action, some more sports action. So enjoy your sports weekend, everybody, and have a great night.